Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. I'm Imake, and today we're going to be talking about a little bit of Batman. We're going to talk about basically the DC fandom event and how this Batman game is definitely going to be, if it's announced, a game changer in the industry when it comes to superhero games. Now, I do recognize that Spider-Man's Miles Morales game is more of a reality than a so-called rumored Batman game, but I wanted to talk about the overall and general fan appeal that Batman has basically brought into the entertainment world. So if you look at when it comes to the animated series, if you look at when it comes to comic books, you look at when it comes into even the movies, something like maybe the Christopher Nolan series of, The Dark Knight, and then you go into the Arkham games, you can't help but say that Batman has a very huge and, in fact, a very significant influence when it comes to superheroes in the genre of superheroes. Spider-Man also being a very good superhero character, well written, and one that even the heart of his creator, Stan Lee, basically is very, very well done. And even Stan himself, in an interview from back in the day, said, one of the really interesting things about Spider-Man and the way I wrote him is I wanted him to be relatable. This is something that Stan Lee basically wanted. He said, putting Peter Parker in a position where his suit sometimes ripped or his shoes are sometimes, busted or broken, was to be able to allow for the appeal of allowing Peter Parker to seem relatable to every other human being who may find themselves in a situation and want to come out of it and, maybe even do things that are heroic in whatever situations they find themselves in. And Uncle Ben is basically that kind of a mentor figure to do that for Peter Parker. On the other hand, you have Bruce Wayne, who has basically almost everything at his fingertips, but is missing the very thing that makes for a complete human being, his parents. And not just his parents being missing, they were killed right in front of him, thereby giving and causing a psychological scar that he basically has not yet or will never recover from over the course of his story, making these characters very interesting and unique and bringing them to light in the whole, superhero universe has basically been a very worthwhile venture for the past few decades, if anything. Now, Batman being 80 years old and this new so-called game being teased officially and unofficially, being rumored more in the sense of the unofficial side, makes me think that this Batman game is very critical for this season. And that's because for a long time, both games seem to have been in their little lanes doing their own thing until Marvel released its Spider-Man game, or PlayStation released the exclusive called Marvel Spider-Man in 2018. And basically, everybody judged that game in light of the Arkham series. Now, that was not necessarily a fair comparison, but I think, the way superhero fans kind of get this banter going, it seemed really smart for people to say, oh, well, look, this so-called Spider-Man game is actually really good and it's better than the Arkham games. And haha, you guys didn't get any other Arkham games this whole console generation. So take that, suckers, and all that stuff. There was just a little bit of that friendly banter that went around. But now that Spider-Man Miles Morales has been actually announced, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for the new or whatever Batman game is being worked on to also come to the market so that we can really judge the quality of both games and judge basically their influence. Yes, the Spider-Man game may seem to be a competitor in regard to sales, but I think that Batman game now has a competitive edge because I don't think it's going to be a console exclusive. You can basically hold that quote and, correct me if I end up being wrong, because many people are talking about Microsoft actually in the works trying to acquire Warner Brothers games. I think they should and make that an exclusive itself so that people can actually see how much influence these two games basically have. Now, I'm not saying that, a Spider-Man game is not going to be a strong contender. In fact, I fear that a Spider-Man game might even outperform a Batman game. But it will be really nice to be able to see both games and see the quality of both games rather than the hype that's generated among both of them. So this is definitely the nexus to see how both games have basically influenced the entirety of gaming and superhero game productions in the industry. And bringing them right now in the same season is definitely something that Warner Brothers needs to do. Even if the game is not ready or, is not prepared to be released, I think an announcement is going to be 100 times worth more than they even understand. Because right now, all bets are off. Everybody is now advertising their games. Sony is going crazy, advertising games all over the place. It seems like Sony was right all along. They didn't need E3, and they're proving that point. And so Warner Brothers needs to jump on that train and on the expectations and on all, the fan hype. People are just, much more in tune now, and they're able to get their video game in the eyes of everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to see a very strong generation of console, release or video games coming out in the next few years. The competition is higher, the stakes are higher, game quality is higher, development is much more, I would say effective, and the drawbacks from the past generations seem to have been most likely eliminated with PlayStation 5's new power, touting. Oh, our console is more powerful. We have this high-speed SSD that's going to make games run better and faster. I think all these changes in technology are basically setting us up for a time in gaming that we basically had to struggle to see from this past generation. And I think we're going to get that as a norm as the next generation is coming out. So I look forward to all of these changes. I look forward to all of these releases. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts on all of this. Do you think that a Batman game is more important to be announced now than later down the road? Or do you think it just needs to wait and let the Spider-Man kind of, shine and enjoy its own spotlight? I think otherwise. I think both of them should be brought to the spotlight. Both of them should be experienced by the gamers, and both of them should be judged by gamers who enjoy and do fancy superhero games. Anyways, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. That's basically what I have to say today. If you've not joined the Video Game Fight School channel, hit the subscribe button. I'll be bringing more discussions on this topic, and I guess we'll see in another video. Peace out.